Hello, welcome back to our cricket podcast. And it's been a couple of minutes since we last uploaded a podcast, but then that's fine because we've been busy. Joe's been busy winning things, and I've been busy planning trips away and also winning things, but slightly less impressive. Um, but it's good to be back. It's good to be back. My name's Dan. Joe Gardner is with me as well, the professional cricketer, the one that provides the sense and the reality to the podcast. So, hi Joe, how are you?
The sense and the reality. What a lovely intro. Oh, it's good to be back. And yeah, absolute. It's just nice to have something to celebrate in being back. Like we're both winners. We're both champs. How good does that sound?
It must be nice to hold a trophy, mustn't it? And get a medal.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I have actually got the medal alongside me.
Oh,
I thought I'd bring it and show you.
you're not just going to wear it for the entire
Um,
podcast. It feels like something that. Do you know what? In all honesty, I am quite surprised that you're not still just wearing your playing kit, and the medal is just adorned around your neck still.
I mean, yeah, that only lasted for like 4 or 5 hours, I'd say, on Saturday evening before we did all get changed. Um, but yeah, so this is the medal. Do you know I was actually really disappointed with it because, as you can see, it's silver,
Yeah, that's odd.
and also Southeast Stars got exactly the same medal with
Really?
just runners up imprinted on the back rather than winners. So both teams got given these silver Rachel Heyhoe Flint medals. And I mean, I'm not going to lie, I kind of wanted a gold one.
That's so weird.
I know.
That's so strange. I got a gold one from the ECB. You
Wow,
see,
would you look at
you
that?
see that one there? Look, like just
Gold.
yeah, that's gold. That is, and all I did was commentate for 2 games for that England-India Death series, and I got given a gold one
That's the way it should be.
at Leicestershire as well. So by de facto, does that mean I'm a better cricketer than Joe Gardner?
Yeah, that's a one up for you. That's definitely a one up. Like, it feels like that, like giving out the same colour medal is something that they now do in like reception sports days because they don't want anyone to be clear winners and losers because it's all just about taking part. Which,
Yeah,
I mean, at that age is fine. However,
no, it's not though. It isn't.
yeah, I'm just trying to.
No,
Yeah, they do need to learn how
you
to win
have
and
to
lose.
learn exactly to be a good winner. You have to be able to learn how to lose. And if you're not being taught how to lose from an early age, I mean, what does that say about future people in society when they've got absolutely no reality of actually not getting something their own way? Like, why would you even try? Like, say it was sports day, and say you were doing like your worst event or something, and you had to do it because your school class form group thing or whatever, or house or whatever it is that you might run for or do the egg and spoon thing for, just needed someone to do it. Why would you bother?
Yeah, exactly. If they're gonna just give medals out on a whim anyway,
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. I'll walk 100 meters because I know I'm not going to win it
yeah,
anyway. What's the point?
it is a bit of a farce. But like, this is meant to be the pinnacle of our season.
True.
We got given a silver medal. I mean, it's a welcome change. It's better than no silverware. And as you say, getting good at losing, we learnt how to do that, and now we've come through the other side, and we are the eternal champions of the Rachel Flint Trophy. So
Never take that away.
cheers to us.
Can never take that away. Well, I mean, we are going to talk about the Sunrisers sign off. We're going to talk about, I don't know whether we can talk about your next kind of move, because obviously that is the end of the Sunrisers now as well, isn't it? But it might just be a quick no. That might be what you can say. We'll talk a bit about club cricket, and we'll talk about my trip to Trinidad, and then we're going to talk about what the future of this podcast kind of looks like going forward. And I guess kind of whether you're allowed to talk about what you're up to this winter. I don't know. There's so many things, Joe, in the air, and we don't know what's going on. But let's talk about the Sunrisers winning the Rachel Heyhoe Flint Trophy first, and just talk me through the kind of the build up to the game, like the morning of the game. How were you feeling? What was your kind of pre-game routine that day? Was it any different to a normal day? Like, were you aware that it? Well, clearly you were aware that it was the final, but did you let that kind of affect you in any other way?
It's an interesting one to be fair because it very much felt in the camp like our final or like playoff game was the game against Vipers, because we knew that we had to win that in order to qualify, and that was kind of 2 weeks ago. So that was kind of like the quarter final we saw. We obviously won that game. Then we went up to Headingley and played the semi final against Northern Diamonds, and the vibe on that around that game was just so relaxed. It was like we have nothing to lose, we have everything to gain, and we're really up for this. We beat them a few weeks ago, like, let's just give it a red hot crack. And we cruised that game really, and it didn't really feel like anyone had any pressure on them compared to the week before, when everyone was just like very, not on edge, but everyone wanted to win so badly because we knew how much we deserved to be in that top four.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, obviously to post 280 or whatever it was against Vipers, and then all of a sudden it was rain affected into a 10 over smash, and they needed 94, which it felt like, obviously they need an on and over, but they have all 10 wickets in a 10 over game. They're just going to come out and smash it. Boundaries were short, like outfield was obviously pretty wet. Felt like it brought them back into the game after posting 280. So yeah, that was that. And then as I said, the semi-final felt really relaxed, and even the final, like, there were obviously a few nerves kicking around and stuff, but it didn't feel like the way a knockout game or a playoff game should feel, in my opinion. Like, I think back personally to how I felt going into like the 100 eliminator or the 100 final in the first year, and I was you just knew, like, there was so much hype and everything. But on Saturday it just didn't feel like that. Everyone was just privileged to be there. Again, the stats behind the head-to-head with us with Stars, I think we played them 13 times, lost every single time in the history of regional cricket. So again, nothing to lose, everything to gain. Knew that we were the underdogs, knew that they had all the pressure on them with a few of their England players coming back from the Tour of Ireland, and we turned them over and we beat them. Like, it was just phenomenal. But in terms of my preparation, no, nothing was particularly different. As I say, we were still very much fueled by our plethora of sweets when we were out on the field.
What was the what was in the pockets this week?
Reversey Percy's.
What's a
from
reversey
M&S? Have you
Percy?
seen them?
Are they new?
So you know Percy pigs,
Yeah, very aware.
and how like the face of a pig is like that kind of light pink, and then the ears are sort of the slightly different,
I think
like
I know what
reddy
you're about
colour.
to say next.
Well, yeah, just switch them over. So like the face of the pig is the red bit, and the light pink softer bit is the ears.
If you were to
Reversey
estimate,
Percy's.
how many of those reversey Percys did you consume on the day?
Ooh. More than 10, I reckon.
Yeah, and you just walk out the outfield whilst you're fielding, couple in the pockets, you just kind of like sneak them in.
Yeah, come out at the drinks breaks, like when we get a wicket. Sometimes they get walked around the boundary to you if you're on the boundary. Like, it's just great. Great service.
That's quite an elaborate way of delivering the odd sweet here and there, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And now, so we don't take the so in the drinks carrier there tends to be a couple of like spare sections for drinks.
Yeah.
So we just get like a plastic cup and then like pour all the sweets in there. So then you're not. Sometimes it can be a bit of an issue when like the packet of sweets is open and sort of like pushed down on the drinks carrier, and then the girls are running off, and then
sweets all over the outfield,
sweets everywhere. Yeah.
And the last thing you want to do as well, like on TV, to kind of let the camera person kind of zoom in on the packet of sweets and go, oh, don't know whether these girls should be eating sweets in the middle of a cricket field. Whose round was it? Who bought the sweets?
I always feel I've put a big shift in the sweets front this year.
Well, I suppose if they come from Marks and Spencer's.
Yeah. Flo and Jodie are also on it in terms of being, in charge of sweets. There hasn't been widespread contribution, unfortunately, and I feel like it is something we're going to have to discuss moving forward. to make sure that everyone pays their way on the
I think so.
sweet contribution front.
Because the thing is, as well, if you're popping into like M&S service stations on the way down to go and get them, these things are expensive. Like they're not cheap. These bags of sweets, they're like £4 a bag. So, but I mean, if they help taste victory, then they're £4 well spent, aren't they? So Sunrisers won the toss, chose to field first. Is that something that you wanted to do in the final? Is that something that you'd done throughout the course of the season? Or was it something that you had one eye on the weather forecast and felt that with Duckworth Lewis, if it were to happen, which we'll talk about later, that you felt that might have kind of gone in your favour?
It was a bit of a mixture of all of those things, to be honest. Like we'd obviously beaten Diamonds the week before, bowling first. We'd set against Vipers. Like, yeah, I guess it's a bit of a mixed bag. We were confident that we could do either, but with the weather around that was potentially forecast, and with it being a final, we were keen to just get out there on the pitch together as a group. I always feel like that's quite a good thing in a crunch game.
Kind of get nerves out of the way quickly, don't you? It's without letting your number 5 sit there and stew for 2.5 hours. You kind of just all get out there together, and if there's, I guess the thing is, and sorry without jumping in, but if you misfield one early, doesn't matter than playing all round a straight one, does it?
Yeah, correct. And I feel like that was actually quite a key part of the day, winning the toss. And yeah, we were straight out there on the front foot and got 3 wickets in the power play thanks to some lovely bowling from Kate Kopak, who I think took career best figures. She bowled really nicely up at Headingley the week before as well, so I was really pleased for her, especially as she's one of our part-time crickets at Sunrisers, so she's a lawyer by day. So to have that sort of impact in a final against a team like South East Stars was brilliant. And as I say, winning the toss and bowling first in hindsight was the thing to do. I'm sure Stars probably would have done the same had they won the toss.
Yeah. I must admit, I wasn't really aware of the weather forecast, but then I wasn't focusing on AccuWeather for Leicester of that day. But you say Kate Kopak finished 10 overs, 1 maiden, 4 for 27, and then picked up the wickets of Stonehouse, Schofield, Chatley. And then there was the run out, wasn't there? The Villiers run out of Smith. Like you must have thought at that point there, because what was the score at that point? If I look at it, it was 21 for 3. You had them 6 for 2. You must have been thinking like this is just going our way today.
Yeah, it was a bit like that, but we know with Stars how they literally bat down to like they've got a lot of power that's stacked in their lineup. Like the week before, Calliamore, who came in at 9, got a runnable 50 and saw them across the line in their game against Vipers in the semi-final. So you're getting contributions like that from players down the order. You know that you have got to bowl them out and be really ruthless. And obviously ADR pretty much batted the whole way through for her 93 and batted really nicely. But we did really well to not let her have the strike and bowl at the new batters quite a lot. We were really smart with that, and I feel like that was a big win and a big plus for us, because she's hurt us in the past, and probably deserved to score 100 in all fairness to her. She batted really well, but just ran out of partners at the other end. And yeah, I genuinely just think that, as had been the case in the previous 2 weeks, we played better on the day. But you're right, like going back to your point, thinking when it was 6 for 2 and looking at the scoreboard 21 for 3 and then getting Bry run out was like, that felt like a bit of a key moment in terms of being like, right, we've got to dive in here. Like this is obviously a key part of the game. Don't let them get away. But you can't think too far ahead. But as I say, with a team like Stars and the record that they have against us, it was just so important to stay in the moment and not project too far into the future. But
that's just generally one of the kind of the beauties of 50 over cricket, is the fact that like obviously the Sunrisers in that game had an incredible start, 3 for 21, as you said, Alice Davidson Richards got 93, I think, in the end, and put together a score that you kind of knew if you batted well wasn't really going to be enough. Like it feels like 50 over cricket now is easy enough to tick around at about 5 and over without really taking any risk at all. And I think that's just the format of it, where you have kind of 10 over power play, and then through as it goes on, you end up with just being able to, the good players can just knock the ball into and just go one, one, one. And then obviously there's a risk then involved, and you just kind of try and pick up that boundary to go over the top. But you needed 213 to win, having bowled the Stars out inside 50 overs, which is always a really nice, that's always a nice kind of feeling. I think when you know that they're walking off and they've got overs left in the bank and they've not used them, I think you kind of look at it and you go, yeah, okay, we've got some extra overs to chase this down. I think you probably know what we're going to talk about next. And to be honest with you, you've walked away with your medal, so actually it doesn't really matter in the slightest, does it? But a goldie in the final at Leicester.
It's pretty peak, isn't it? It's pretty peak. Thankfully, I don't actually think I'm as harsh on myself as I perhaps used to be, which is great personal growth. Obviously, super disappointing. Like, I should have gone forward.
Have you watched it back?
Yeah, I watched it back. I didn't watch it back on the day.
What do you think about it?
Come up to me and said, I mean, it probably wasn't out. It's sliding down. Like, it looks like it's going down leg with the angle. Like, but I was like, to be honest, haven't looked. Don't really care. I've got a medal. No. We've won. It's irrelevant. Yeah. Because it is irrelevant because we won. So that's the only thing that matters. Obviously, it would have been nice to have faced more than one ball out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, shit happens, really, doesn't it?
Pretty much.
But yeah, what was your verdict?
What, on the decision?
Yeah.
I'd put it down there with one of the worst that I've seen in the calendar year. But yeah, I don't know. Look, umpiring's tough, isn't it? It's really difficult. It's objective. One person might see something slightly differently to the next, and clearly these guys and girls doing it at these upper levels, they've then got the difficulty of having the opportunity for people to watch replays and slow things down and add ball tracking to it and things like that. But yeah, didn't look like the plumbest of LBWs that I've ever seen in my life. And if there was a day to kind of give the benefit of the doubt, possibly that might have been one of the days. But as you said, it happened, and yeah, you've still got the medal. So
yeah, correct. Do you know what? When you were just saying about that, it almost made me think back to Sri Lanka and Gaul for you, and that one on the side.
Hey, if you want to talk to a person who's had like the odd stinker on a big day, like I'm pretty well qualified at that. So yeah, I feel you. I feel you. But and then after that, so what kind of, you said you weren't particularly harsh on yourself, but what was your like immediate reaction to that? Like, was it a case of, did you sit in the dressing room by yourself for a while and contemplate life and whether you should have gone forward or backwards or used or whatever, or was it a case of like just whip the gear off straight away, get back out on the balcony and support the girls as best you could?
Yeah, I was pretty gutted when I was walking off the pitch, obviously, as you can imagine. But yeah, I got back to the changing room, took all my kit off, which, yeah, no throwing of anything. It was very calm. And then...
Are you a thrower? Yeah. Have you ever been a thrower?
Yeah, in my past, I would say. I'm not a thrower anymore, though. I couldn't tell you the last time I would have thrown anything.
Was there anything that wouldn't have been thrown, or was there like a specific item that you tended to throw?
I'd say the times that I've thrown my helmet, I've got a lot of pleasure out of that because it tends to do some nice revolutions through the air. But then I remember one time I threw it so hard, I was like, no, that actually could break. And then that's just silly, isn't it? It's just very, very silly. I got a bit more protective over my bats as well. I don't really throw them anymore. if I was going to throw anything nowadays, it'd probably just be my glove, which is pathetic because it just doesn't. There's no like woody sound for it to bang against, if you know what I mean.
I reckon you've got to a stage now in your life that if you were to throw your glove, it would be like into your kit bag as well. So
Yeah,
there would be no kind of actually. So what you'd be doing there is you'd be really, really aggressive, but equally you'd be kind of forward thinking about the fact that you're actually starting to pack up at the end of it. I kind of feel like that's at the stage of your life of where you are right now.
yeah, yeah. That is probably about right. To be fair, so yeah, I packed all my stuff away and then was pretty chilled about just having a couple of biscuits and sitting on the balcony supporting. To be honest, which was great. And then there was a lot of discussion about these clouds that were above and
Hmm.
whether or not there were some that were going to hit us because there were before obviously the rain did come. There was a few that passed by and we thought, oh, that could come down on us. And
Yeah.
for the final, you had to play 20 overs in order for it to constitute a game. So we were looking at that, and this was at about 17 or 18. So we thought, right, as soon as we get past 20, then we know that we're fine, and we haven't got to come back tomorrow for the reserve day. Obviously, knowing that the forecast, like we were then getting people to look on the weather apps and whatever, and being like, the radar's terrible, whatever.
Yeah.
So that was that. The rain came, and then it was actually really, really difficult to not think about them calling the game off and that
Yeah, I was going to say
we'd
actually,
won.
were you because you would have known that you were ahead
Yeah.
on DLS by that point. So were you sat there thinking, "Come on, just please keep raining, just keep pissing down for just, like if we get another half an hour of this, like we are going to be all right," or was there like because I guess because that'd be a very clubby thing to do, I think. Because I think that would be kind of but I guess like for you, it would be you couldn't let yourself get too carried away by that because there could have been a moment that it would have been like, right, we're clearing up, we're going to get back out there at 5:30 or something, and we're going to have 5 overs left in this innings or something.
Yeah, which would have been really bizarre. But yeah, like we were, yeah, I was getting quite excited, shall we say. And I was kind of, yeah, only chatting to a couple of people about it, I would say. So obviously everyone's up there in the changing room and just like giving the odd nudge and just like whispering in the ear, like thinking about the celebrations and like, is this actually happening? Yeah, it was really strange, and the heavens just kept on opening, and
Mm.
like there was a gutter that was like dripping onto like our balcony bit, and it was like honestly, you've never seen anything like it, and like you're thinking, if this is any other game, there is no way that they're getting us back out there on the pitch. Like these puddles were just emerging, like the covers were just drenched in like this muddy, horrendous water. Yeah, honestly, you've never seen anything like it. But until we got the confirmation that the game was off, it yeah, it was just bonkers. And we were in the changing room and saying, "Oh, like, how much longer do you think we're gonna have to wait?" It was like 4 o'clock. We're thinking, right, surely we're gonna know by 4:30. Like
Yeah.
it's literally not stopped. And then it was about 4:20, whatever. And then James Treadwell poked his head into the changing room and was like, "Is Grace around?" And we were like, "Oh, whatever." So then, like, he went and like Scriv went and chatted to them, and then when she came back in the changing room, it was just like pure elation. Like I was jumping around like something you'd never seen for about 30 seconds, and then all of a sudden, stars started walking into our dressing room to shake hands,
Oh, okay.
and it was just like, oh, literally like cut the
Yeah,
sellies
yeah, yeah.
because we've got to go and shake hands. And it was a really strange moment. And for anyone that's ever been to Leicester, Grace Road, and has experienced the change rooms, like it's really quite narrow at the top there. So they were all walking through into our change room, shook hands, whatever, and we were sort of shuffling past them. So much so that we all ended up in their changing room on the other side. For them to then come back in and us to then go back out across to ours and like carry on celebrating or whatever, it was just, yeah, it was bizarre circumstances, but wouldn't have had it any other way. Like, what a story.
At the end of the day, you won you won over 75 overs, didn't you? And like there was a quarter of that entire game left at the point. And if no one has seen, if you haven't seen the pictures of it, go and have a look at the ground, because it was pretty impressive. It was kind of something that I reckon a couple of like RC boats probably would have gone quite well on there around the outfield. But yeah, congratulations. And what was the celebration like in Leicester, in Leicestershire? Did it stay within the ground? Did it go out into Leicester afterwards, or have you since celebrated as a team? Like what was it?
Yeah, so we stayed at the ground for a fair few hours. Like, the friends and family and stuff were able to stay around and have a drink with us after, and after all the kind of formal trophies and medals or whatever was done, which was really nice. We stayed at the ground until, I'm not sure what the time was. I was just purely drinking Chapel Down champagne. So there was 9 regular bottles and a magnum of it in our changing room, which was tremendous. If anyone hasn't seen it, go and check out my Instagram post. So yeah, we were there and we were just like having a good time, enjoying each other's company, still in our kit and our medals on, obviously, at this point. And then we sort of made our way back to the hotel, which was in the city centre, and got ourselves ready. And we had like pre-booked a pub bar place for us with like some really nice long benches or whatever. So that was really cool. Went there. And then I think the celebrations continued into one of the Irish pubs that frequent Leicester. And yeah, it was really quite emotional, actually. There were a lot of tears because obviously it's the end of an era. And we've got our sort of Middlesex end of season lunch next week, and the memo is that everyone's wearing black because we're in mourning for the Sunrisers, and yeah, it's gonna be really sad. But to come out with the trophy at the end of it is very much feels like the icing and the cherry and the decorations on top of this cake that we've seemed to have been building over the past 4 years, and probably didn't get past the mixture for the first 3 years. There was no chance it was even going in the oven to be baked at one point. So yeah, it's a nice way to finish.
Yeah, it's kind of the perfect story, isn't it? As you've just said, it's taken time since the inception of the Sunrisers all the way through to that kind of what is essentially the last day of what women's professional cricket looks like in the UK, as it looks like now, because everything changes going forward in 2025. And as you've just said, a lot of that team the team will go their separate ways. Some will move to different counties. There's I saw obviously Maddie signed with Durham, hasn't she, to kind of move way up north. So there will naturally be a bit of a breakup of that group, and I guess there will be some of the backroom staff that might stay at Middlesex, that might not move to Essex, that might move to a different county. So yeah, kind of the perfect, I guess, almost what I guess you'd call like the fairy tale ending of that era of cricket in England for you and for the Sunrisers, which is really cool. A really cool way to kind of end that period of cricket. So congratulations to you, because I think it's been well earned. I think it's been hard graft, and it's good to see.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, it has been a journey.
Good on you. Can you talk about what happens next? Are you allowed to yet?
I don't really know. I mean,
fair enough. We won't talk about that then.
Yeah, I mean, people talk, don't they? And things get around, but yeah, I probably can't talk about it quite yet. But I can talk about my winter plans.
Yeah, go on. Talk about your winter plans then, and we'll talk about those other things when they're actually kind of official.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure I'm heading over to India for the first time in December, which will be super fun for a little batting camp. I feel like it's going to humble me, but I feel so ready to go out there and just be challenged.
Humble in which as a cricketer, humbled, or humbled as a human being?
I'm thinking as a cricketer, but also okay. I think my eyes will be open to the culture and stuff, because it's somewhere I've never been before. And obviously they're so passionate about cricket, and I'm really looking forward to getting out there and immersing myself with everything that India has to offer. And yeah, probably being humbled by 9-year-old boys who can turn it however many degrees past my outside edge or cut me in half with wrong uns and googlies and all sorts. So I think it will be a really good challenge, a really nice way to, I guess, build into like the Christmas breaks. We're going just before Christmas, I think. Nothing's officially confirmed, but that's the plan. And then have a bit of Christmas at home and head out to Australia is the plan at the moment. Adelaide, again, somewhere I haven't been before, which is super exciting. Hopefully getting to train with the state out there and have a bit of a partnership going on with those guys in South Australia. So that should be really cool. Yeah, and then before you know it, we'll be into pre-season and 2025 Tier 1 structure will be beginning.
Quite scary, isn't it, how quickly that time could go past, but really exciting the fact that you've got kind of some things in your calendar and stuff that you've got to look forward to over the winter, because sitting in the UK for 6 months, 7 months or whatever, because we spoke about it, didn't we, last year, through February, March time, and you were going up and down the M1 in the pouring rain, going to do like yo-yo tests and S&C work and hitting bowling machine balls in an indoor school. It does get a bit boring. And so to be able to have those other things to look forward to, that's going to be good. So is that in Australia? Is that going to be club cricket in Australia? Like there's a without sounding like a classic club cricket knob here, but there is a decent standard of women's and girls club cricket in Australia.
Yeah, I'd probably say, yeah, like club cricket in Australia is a lot better than women's club cricket here.
Yeah,
would be my first take on it. I don't know how to sort of rank it on, grading other than that. The fact that it's just better, and I guess there's more probably time and effort actually put into club cricket and the structure of stuff for the women's game over there. That's for sure. Obviously, the men's game in this country, everyone's pretty passionate about it. And it's very much the same over there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It'll be another good challenge. Hopefully, it'll just be nice to be outside at that time of year, as you say, rather than drive in and going to hit balls in the indoor centre for 4 hours or whatever it is, and you're just seeing the same four walls 4 or 5 days a week. So yeah, it will be really nice to head out there, and I absolutely love Australia. I love the culture and the lifestyle and everything. So yeah, it'll be good. Nice little winter plan.
Could be some early morning / late night podcast recordings through the winter then, by the sounds of it. But it'd be good. And again, I should imagine quite an incredible change to your life, I guess, when you kind of saw yourself as a women's professional cricketer, as a professional cricketer in the UK 12 months ago, 18 months ago. I guess, would you have thought that there would have been a kind of a batting camp in India and then a winter in Australia to kind of follow up what's been a successful summer? It feels like, from an outside perspective, it feels like it's changing quite a lot and changing quite quickly.
Yeah, so there were a couple of trips. We saw a few of the other regions go on to India last year as part of their sort of pre-season prep, and have we sort of considered that as what would be a good idea for a lot of the girls in the group. Jodie and Cords actually went out to Mumbai in January and sort of spoke about how they really enjoyed it and the challenge and everything, and how you could see it pretty much instantly when they came back into training, like the work that they'd put in and then putting it into training with us had sort of elevated their games even more than where they were already at. And obviously that's paid dividends for them across the course of the season. But yeah, it's probably not something I necessarily had thought could happen so soon. Would be one thing. And yeah, I think the last time I went to Australia, I did struggle a bit, and I was a bit, would I get to go back there again in the time that I'm a pro, or will it just be going out there for a holiday or visiting or going to watch the Ashes or something like that? So the fact that the opportunity is there to be able to do that, I think it's an absolute no-brainer from my perspective. And I would urge anyone that has the opportunity to go overseas and immerse yourself in different environment with different challenges, then like you should absolutely do it 100%. And I'm sure that you can probably even vouch for that as well. Like, obviously, your trip to Sri Lanka with the Barmy Army, and obviously heading out to Trinidad next week and things like that. Like, I guess, would you have thought that cricket and your job in content creating would be able to take you to the places that it's taken you? Because you've been to quite a few countries in the world now.
Yeah, there's a long list of things that if you asked me 5 years ago whether I would have ever done it, like the answer just would have been a straight up no. And I sometimes like it's a weird one actually because I know that I'm incredibly fortunate to be in the position that I am in, but then I also very much know how much work has gone in behind the scenes to actually get into that position. So, like, very fortunate. I don't necessarily think it's luck, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's so cool. As you said, I'm going out to Trinidad on Tuesday for 10 days to go and film a load of content with Josh De Silva and a bunch of his Trinidad cricketing mates, which will be really good fun. I think is it the Red Force in Trinidad? I think it might be, which I'm really excited for. As you say, to go and kind of immerse yourself in a different culture, to kind of learn how other people live and what they do for fun, and just not even necessarily the cricket side of things. That's less important for me, but just to kind of get to know people. I think we're going to go and see a bat maker in Trinidad, which is going to be really interesting to see how that process is like compared to the UK. I believe I've got a coaching session lined up with one of the top coaches in Trinidad. So again, that's going to be really interesting to kind of get their perspective on my cricket compared to some of the people that I've done stuff with in the UK. So yeah, beyond excited to go out there. And as you say, just to go and get some sunshine will be really nice. But yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. I still need to pack. And I also need my back to get better as well. But apart from that, we're all right.
Yeah, hopefully your back gets on the mend and doesn't get too affected by the flight. How many hours is it? 9?
9?
Yeah.
9. Well, you should know.
Yeah, like that's true.
You've just booked one.
Similar area.
About 9 hours. About 9 hours. And unfortunately, YouTube doesn't pay well enough to fly business, so it'll be kind of sat bolt upright in economy for 9 hours, which would be great fun. So yeah, it'd be good. But I've got like a list of things here, videos that are going to get filmed, which is going to be really good. Going to see if I can hit any bigger sixes than Josh. See if I can survive a day, like 24 hours as a test cricketer. So basically just follow his routine for a day, which I think he's going to enjoy. I'm not sure whether I'm going to enjoy it quite as much. We'll do some beach cricket, which again, I've seen like videos of the beaches and geez, they look so good. They look so good. What else is there? I think they're lining up a game that I can play in, which again will be really cool. So yeah, loads of content coming from Trinidad, and it'll just be so nice to kind of be somewhere a bit different, do something, just experience some different things, film in different places, film outside, which is always nice to be able to do that. And yeah, after what feels like about kind of a long 18 months, it's quite nice to actually have this to look forward to and get out there and do some cool stuff.
Yeah, that'll be wicked. I'm looking forward to tuning into all of that. Sounds like you've got a lot noted down to get sorted in the 10 days that you're there.
It's going to be an intense trip, but it's going to be good.
Yeah, just watch your back, and you know if that gets in the way of your day in the life with Josh, then you just have to tell him to pull back on the accelerator a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. When we're doing like 5-kilometer hill sprints and stuff like that, and just repeat yo-yo tests one after the other. No, it's yeah, I'll be all good. Just don't get old, basically, is what the thing is. And essentially, what I shouldn't have done is I shouldn't have played the game of cricket at the end of the season that didn't matter in an 8-a-side T20 game inter-club on a wet pitch in the rain. And I probably shouldn't have tried to hit the old duffer into the car park either, should I? And actually, if I hadn't have done all of those things, I would have been fine. But here we are.
But you're never going to discourage someone for trying to hit it out the park, right?
Hell no. That's the way to go. I mean, because as Harry Brooks said the other day, who cares? Because one day it might go for 6, the next day it might get caught on the boundary, and who cares?
Exactly, and then he went and scored 100 odd not out. So
that's a weird quote, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit strange, wasn't it? A few of the media outlets picked up on it. I did see.
I can understand it to like compartmentalize it as a cricketer at
Mm,
any standard, because as you say, it's like that kind of getting rid of that fear of failure type thing. And for a personal thing, who cares? Who cares if I try and hit a six and it gets whatever? But to say those exact words, who cares? It's like, well, probably the 30,000 people that have paid their money to come and watch you play cricket and want to see you do well and beat Australia in this ODI series, they're probably the people that care, Harry. So I think it was probably a bit of a slip of the tongue, really, wasn't it? And it was actually more of like a, I don't fear failure rather than who cares.
yeah, yeah, I would say that, and I guess obviously he's stepping in, isn't he, for Joss as captain in this ODI series, so he's probably got
Stokes is back
a
soon.
few more media responsibilities than he maybe has before. But yeah, Stokes is back soon. He's had his scan and he's on track to be out there in Pakistan, isn't he? So
he's retired from international white ball cricket more times than I've had at dinners, I reckon.
can't keep him away.
Well, if Baz drops me a message and says, "You want to come and play?" Yeah, I'll come and play. Well, why did you retire in the first place? Like then? Oh no, wait, I know, because bilateral series in cricket at the moment are the most pointless things in the world. That would be why you retired. But if there's a sniff at another World Cup, well, I could be tempted out of retirement, Baz. Don't you worry about that. But yeah, it would be good because he's one of those just enigma cricketers, isn't he? That kind of just feels like he's just sent to test the rest of the world. And if he's in your camp, happy days. Let's talk about the future of the podcast, Joe. Let's get deep. Let's talk about futures, because I think, and I don't know, I might speak for both of us, but you might jump in and say that I'm speaking waffle. But I think both of us have found it quite difficult to be able to kind of do this on a regular basis through the summer, and I think that's a conflict of obviously your schedule, being a professional athlete up and down the country in the gym, playing, net sessions, training, everything like that, to my kind of weird and wonderful life of making videos and driving up and down the country and sitting in commentary boxes for days and then hotel rooms and stuff like that. It's not the easiest thing, is it, to kind of pin somebody down for like, right, we are going to record a podcast every Tuesday at 6:00. Nor is it particularly easy to kind of go, right, well, the test match is finished. Right, oh no, wait, I can't because I'm in Worcester. It's not the easiest thing going, is it?
Yeah, it is very much like that, isn't it? Obviously, we're both very busy and on different schedules. If we were on similar schedules, it'd probably be easier to align. But obviously, yours is, yeah, very full on when your diary's packed out, which obviously you want it to be. And then equally mine with training changes depending on when our games are and all stuff like that. So it has been tricky. And yeah, I guess that's probably part of the reason why we haven't recorded in 4, 5, 6 weeks or whatever it was since the end of the 100. But yeah, I guess it's just working out how we can best utilise and chat about good cricket stuff for the people that want to listen to it.
Yeah.
That's a bit timeless, I guess, because we tried the reactionary stuff, didn't we, with the test matches, which were cool when we could get them done.
Yeah.
But again, just a bit irregular because we couldn't guarantee that we could always do it,
Yeah, and going back to the schedule thing, you can't sit there and watch 7 hours, 8 hours of test cricket when you're meant to be doing something else or you're meant to be driving somewhere. It's impossible to be able to consume it. And then can you provide a half an hour long kind of in-depth conversation about what's happened when actually neither party have actually watched it to be able to provide that? So, and that's the easy win. Like in terms of like sports podcasting and shows and things like that, that's the easy win, because you can just turn around and talk about what happened the day before. And that is absolute bread and butter. It doesn't really take any great deal of skill about it, because in terms of like algorithm side of things, you're going to get picked up in what people are searching for online. You can use relevant hashtags, and you can kind of title things up, and obviously like the search engines and things are going to kind of push things towards what happened. But once that has been boxed off, that piece of content never ever gets looked again by anybody else. It's done. So it's easy, but there's no kind of, nobody is looking back at like week 13 of the 2006 NFL campaign when two kind of American sports presenters spoke about the Chicago Bears playing the New England Patriots. Like, nobody's searching that up again. But it's easy because you can just turn around and go, right, this happened, let's talk about it, done. But you do have to kind of watch it, don't you, to be able to talk about it. So as you said, the word you used there was timeless, which I think is probably a really interesting word to use, and probably one that we need to kind of tap into. And I think I wonder whether it's kind of a way that what we can do is we kind of go title first, if that makes sense. And then we can send a list of titles through. We can kind of go, look, I want to do this one. I don't want to do that one. I want to do this one, or whatever that looks like. And actually, if we do that, then we have a title and we can talk about something that we actually do want to talk about, and probably have quite a bit of fun with it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think in doing that, in creating that title or whatever, I guess it just makes it a bit, I don't know, I guess, yeah, easier to find, and people can just go back and listen, and if they're interested in who we think the hottest 50 cricketers are in terms of form, whatever, at the time, in that sphere, or ever, or in a certain decade of time, if they really enjoy the game, watching sort of I don't know, from the modern day Ashes series or something like that. It'll be fun.
I think so. It might take a little bit more research. That might be the only thing that I think of, but you love that kind of shit anyway. You are the biggest badger, I think, that has ever existed in this stuff. I think one of your favorites, actually, I don't even know if it's saved as a favorite. I reckon on your iPad or laptop or whatever you've got, like one of the tabs permanently open is just like the stats on ESPN Cricket Info. You just sit there and just consume it. Like, you don't read when you go to sleep. You sit there and you just scroll through, like, who had the highest strike rate in the Zimbabwe Premier League in 2007. That's the kind of numbers that Joe Gardner knows. So I kind of feel like you're going to be the right person to be able to talk to about these things as well.
I wish I could sit here and deny it, but I'd be lying if I said there weren't tabs of ESPN Cricket Info open on both my iPad and also my phone. So,
well, what was that question? What was that question that was asked the other day about
fantastic. Honestly, that was such great entertainment.
What question was it?
It was was it 8 cricketers that have played every single domestic game for their counties?
Yes. Did you get 4 of them?
I reckon I did get 4, yeah. And at one point I was 4 from 4 in my guesses, and that was without ESPN Cricket Info. That was just pure badger brain filtering. I was absolutely loving it.
You're like a London taxi driver, but for cricket stats.
Yeah, I wish I could just, reel off odd stats about like random competitions that happened. Like, I feel like,
it's a chance.
It's great fun.
There is definitely a chance. There's definitely a chance. But yeah, I think that's probably the way that we need to go. I know that you and I, we've spoken a little bit about some titles that we've got, and I think I've got them noted down somewhere. Pretty sure I have. Have I got them? Yes, I have. So that's good. So they're noted down and they're ready to go. But they won't be happening until November because I'm not in the country until November. So
you're off on your hollybobs.
Yeah, it's been great catching up. Yeah, exactly. Trinidad, home for, well, we could do one in the middle, to be fair, if you're about, but home for about 6 days, I think, and then back to Heathrow to go out to Sri Lanka, which definitely will be a holiday. I am going to take a camera, but I've got no plans to go and film anything. So if I could get involved in like a game of street cricket or I stumble across something interesting, then I've got something, but I'm not taking my kit.
Yeah, nice. You don't need that extra baggage.
Nah, imagine like backpacking around Sri Lanka, but without taking any clothes whatsoever. I'm just walking around with a thigh pad and like batting pads in a
No,
bag.
you've got them on. You're walking around with them on.
Priorities.
There's no space to carry.
They are going to be ripe by the time that you finish 2 weeks,
Oh.
like stumbling around humid Sri Lanka. But no, it'll be good. Okay, well maybe we can pencil one in.
Yeah, for sure.
We can do some research. We just might need to pick a title that doesn't involve me spending too much time in Trinidad scrolling through statistics. But yeah, right, Joe. Thank you very much for having a chat. Always good. Congratulations again on the Rachel Heyhoe Flint victory, and see you in a couple of weeks, I guess.
Yeah, thanks, Dan, and also congrats to Eastergate.
Yeah, go on up
winning
the
the league and getting promoted after the despair of last year. So yeah, both champions. Go well in Trinidad. Have fun. Have a great time.
Thank you very
Enjoy
much.
making the content. I look forward to seeing it.
I'm going to be one of those annoying people that like the Instagram story is going to be worth looking at for the next 10 days. So yeah, see you soon.
Bye.